Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to do a horror themed video. I'm a big horror collector. It's probably my favorite genre of all time. Out of all the films in my collection, I probably have the most horror. So I saw something the other day, I can't remember whose channel it was, but he was doing this sort of thing where he'd say the third entries that are better than the first entries in horror franchises, and I thought that was brilliant. So I've gone for today, horror sequels I prefer to the originals. And I'm just going to showcase a couple from my collection, tell you my thoughts, why I prefer each one. If you see me looking off to the side, I've written myself some notes. Let's just get straight into it. So the first movie on the list is Unfriended Dark Web. While I do think the original is good and it serves a good purpose and it's not a bad movie by any means, I just prefer how much fun this is, getting to see them play the game over Skype. You know, they're playing card games and like things you used to play with your mates over lockdown and like Discord and stuff, any sort of games you could play like that. And then suddenly this dark force and dark web element is entered into the movie, where there's some really like cool mystery plot sublines going on that you just don't really know where it's going to go. And I love the twists and turns. And I think, even though, as I say, the first movie is very good, I think don't sleep on Dark Web. I think it has a really cool twist ending, and it could have eventually spawned more things, but I am kind of glad that they stopped it too. The next one on the list is, I've got the Orphan double feature, but this is more specifically about Orphan First Kill. While I do think the first Orphan is very good, especially if the first time you watch it before you know the twist, it's slow paced, it's dreadful, it's like you really feel the tension, you really feel every single moment in that movie. Orphan First Kill, however, is just, it's a prequel that kind of nukes the twist ending of the first one, but not in a way that I think ruins the movie. I do think most people who are going to watch First Kill have probably seen the original, and there was that much time between the two sequels that if you hadn't seen it, you probably weren't going to. But I do think, as much as the original is good, this one is just so much more rewatchable. It's shorter, it's much more fun, it's much more fast-paced. There's loads of twists and turns in this one that you just don't see coming at all. And when you watch it, you can either watch it as a prequel or a sequel, because you get the same backstory, you get the same sort of layers, and it's not really going to impact much of your experience either way if you do prefer the original. But Orphan First Kill is absolutely brilliant. If you haven't seen it, do check it out. It's so much fun. Then the next one is Terrifier 2. I've got the Terrifier 1 and 2 double pack steelbook from France, I think it was. Comes with All Hallows Eve as well. But Terrifier 1, we all know it was a proof of concept more than it was a film. They wanted to test Art the Clown, could he do his own movie, test how the gore, test how the audience reacted to the movie as a whole. And Terrifier 2 overall just does everything better. It's got much better acting. It gives us a fantastic girl in Sienna, a final girl in Sienna. It gives us, far better kills, far better gore, far better practical effects. It actually tries to give us some, strings of a story. The first one was basically 2% story and 98% just, as I say, a concept. Whereas this one at least attempts to give us a story, and while I do wish they'd stop drip feeding the nuggets of information we get in these movies, I feel like we'll be on Terrifier 7 before we actually get like a bit more lore about art and stuff. But I do enjoy the fact that it's a mystery at the moment, at least. But the story is so much better. The only problem I do have with this movie, which obviously the first one was perfect, the first one was like 90 minutes. I think this one's like 2.5 hours, and I really enjoyed it the first time I seen it just before it released at a horror film festival in London. I think like must have been like 5-6 years ago now. But I think that was obviously the first time viewing, seeing it with a packed cinema, just seeing it for the first time. But on subsequent rewatches, that is the main thing that boggles this one down, because it is just a killer clown. Even though there is story, it's a lot of gore, it's very mean-spirited. And even though he's really fun to watch and he's really charismatic, once you get about 2.5 hours of that, you are like, all right, like, let's finish this now, let's get it done. Terrifier 3 is also fantastic, but I don't own that one, and I'd probably say in my rankings of Terrifier movies, it probably does go 3, 2, 1, because 3 has everything that I just said about the second one. Good story, they keep developing the characters that we already love. It still got the amazing gore, it's still got lots of fun and lots of amazing comedic acting from David Howard Thornton. And that one is, I think that one's like an hour 40, hour 50, so a lot shorter than my main gripe with the second one. Now we move on to Smile 2. I might be in the minority on this one. I know a lot of people love Smile. I know a lot of people love the concept and the execution and all the rest of it. I found Smile 1 to be awfully boring. I like the concept of it, and there was, some decent moments and all the rest of it, but the whole time I was watching it, I was like, this is just things that I've seen in It Follows. This is just things that I've seen in various other movies. And I don't know if it's I've only ever seen it the once. I saw it in cinema and I was just like, I have no reason to want to rewatch this. So when they originally said they were making a Smile 2, I was like, oh, I'm not really asked. I probably won't bother. Then my mate said, do you want to go watch it? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm not that bothered. So I looked it up. Me and him were big Disney Channel kids growing up, and we love Naomi Scott from Lemonade Mouth fame. And when we saw she was casted in this, and she was going to play like, that sort of Ariana Grande, Lady Gaga pop star, really famous, but a little bit troubled, I was sold. I think the Smile concept itself is better than the first movie, but once you apply that to a concept that I already love, a concert setting for a horror movie is already just really interesting to me. It's really fun. And this movie is just, it's fun, it's fast-paced, it's a lot more energetic, and a lot more just, I don't know, you'll just have a much more of a good time with this one, I think, which I get. Obviously, a lot of people don't watch horror to have, lots of fun and have a good time. You want the scares, you want the tension, all the rest of it, and you can get horror films for that, but this one, just like First Kill, is just, it's just so fun. And if you've not seen Smile 2, I'd defo check it out. The soundtrack is absolutely incredible as well. The songs Naomi Scott made for this movie were fantastic. The behind the scenes of her learning all the dances and all the moves and stuff, and just in general the Smile curse and how the second one wraps up, I think is brilliant. A very similar sort of ending to I believe it's Truth or Dare, which isn't the best movie, but the ending where basically the Truth or Dare curse ends up online and more people, will get it. Similar sort of ending to that. And if they ever do make Smile 3, I'll be very intrigued to how that works, with it not just following, from person to person, but it more following multiple groups at one time. And then finally, to end the video, there was a couple more I was debating with, but I was like, they're quite close for me in terms of movie 1 and movie 2, like Child's Play being an example. I love Child's Play and I love Child's Play 2, but I wouldn't really say one is better than the other. They're quite like on par for me. So ones like that I didn't really include. Same with like Scream. I like Scream 2, but Scream 1 is far better. And things like that were like, I was debating, but they weren't quite close enough for me. It Chapter 1 and 2 as well, the modern ones, I'd say are very, very close for me as well. But I do think 1 is maybe a more all-rounded, just more digestible story than the second one. So to finish the video off, we have The Conjuring 2. Now, I find the Enfield case far more interesting than the case in the original, so that also really helped on this one. I do hope these eventually get the 4K box treatment from Warner Brothers. I don't know if you can see it in the background over there, just here, where the Annabelle doll is, but I hope 2 and 3 eventually get the same treatment so they all match. I even enjoyed The Conjuring 4. I'm eventually going to do some videos on this channel where I rank the franchises that I love best, give my reasons, do a little tier list, fun things like that. But the second one has always just been the most fun for me. I think the acting and the more wholesome moments and things like that from the Warrens and the kids are brilliant in this. And I know people are like, oh, it's a horror film, you don't really need wholesome moments and all the rest of it, but I think they really tied this one in perfectly with, like, even though it is a scary story and it's like, lots of jump scares and things like that and lots of tension, the family dynamic, the family element, what's happening with the Warrens at the time and things like that is just so much more interesting to me than the first one. This movie also gave us the iconic Nun, which, even though her solo films aren't the best, I think the Nun in this is the best representation we could have got. She's frightening. The backstory, the whole plot with the Warrens and how she links into their story, I think was done perfectly. We also got the Crooked Man, which of all the Conjuring villains, I wish he would have got his own solo project, but I think at this point, they're just going to keep rinsing solo Conjuring movies till the day we die, because they've realised that the Annabelles and the Nuns and that have kind of fizzled out. So I think we're just going to get Conjuring 5, Conjuring 6, and they're going to eventually drive it into the ground and do my head in. But as of now, I like 4. 3 was okay, so I don't mind the franchise as a whole. But yeah, let me know, guys, which sequels do you prefer to the originals in terms of horrors and maybe just non-horrors? We could maybe do this again with just movies in general, not including horror films. But yeah, thank you for watching the video. If you're enjoying these, like, just sit down, nice and cozy, just films in the background, just having a bit of a discussion. You know, if you've got YouTube Premium, you could even just turn your screen off, listen to me talk if that's what you want to do with your day, and just let me talk about films. You know, I want to hear your opinions down below. And thanks for watching.